Hi everyone, this is Tanu Arora. I'm making this video on how to explain automation testing framework while giving your interviews. So what I have seen is like we all go through tutorials to learn about the Selenium and the rest assured. But the thing is that we face challenge while explaining the project structure to the interviewer. So here in this video, we'll talk about how project structure should look like while you are working as well as while you are giving any interview. How should you portray your project structure to the interview? And also don't forget to mention those few key points while giving telling about the project structure. Like suppose if you are mentioning about the page object model and Cucumber and TestNG or Jenkins, then you should have a knowledge of all these four things that I mentioned. So you should first study them also in detail. And here in this video, I'll tell you how project structure should look like. So yeah, let's move into the next slide. So here we are talking about the BDDD framework along with the data driven. So we can call it as a hybrid framework, which is comprising of the behavior driven development framework and the data driven framework. So when I talk about behavior driven development, it is about the Cucumber based framework. So in this we write in the feature file write the test cases in the simple layman terms that we call the Gherkin language, given when then statement we use, so that it is easy for any external person who don't have the complete knowledge of the code, but when he comes and see your feature file, then he can get the proper knowledge, okay, what exactly this specific test is doing. Okay, so here I'm using Cucumber and the page object model and the data driven. Okay, so how ideally how project structure should look like. So in the package structure, we'll take create three packages here. First is the step definition package, then page class package, and the utility package. So step definition package, it will contain all those step definitions that we are using in the feature file. So all those step definition, what we'll do, we'll create, suppose I have one login functionality and I have one feature file that contains all the login test cases. So all those login step definitions that I'm using, what I'll do under the step definition package, I'll create one class for the login, and in that class I'll write all those step definition associated with the login. Okay, similarly if I have the home page feature file, so I'll create one class name as the home page, not home page, home step definition kind of thing, so that it is easy to readable. Under that I'll write all those test case, all those step definitions that are using we are using on the home page. So this is about the step definition package. Then coming to another package, page class package. Similarly, here page class package we are using the page object model, like each page of the application is considered as one of the class. Suppose one is the login page, so login page will consider as the one class. So we are creating one class login page.java, and under that login page, all those web elements that are present on that specific page and all those methods and all those interactions we are doing on that page, suppose click and all those operations, that will also come under this login page. And similarly we can have the multiple pages of the application, so we can have the home page or another page. Suppose if you're in your website you have some detailing page, so you can add another page, detail page, and all those web elements and all those operations that you are working on it will come under that class. Similarly, we have one more package, that is a utility package. It contains all those global methods. It will create one class under this global methods.java, and under this, in this class we'll mention all those methods that are global. That it means like all our framework is utilizing those. Suppose if you are taking any screenshot, if you are doing any prerequisite before the execution of test, like making database connection, so you have created one method for that, all those method will reside under the global methods class. Okay, this is about the uh, src main java pack root. Okay, now coming to src main resources. So under this we'll create two packages. One is for the feature file. So under the feature file we'll create feature files, like for each page of the application we should have, ideally we should have the feature file. So here if you see, under the feature file I have like login test.feature, home test.feature. So all login test cases, all those scenario positive, negative, all those scenarios will come under the login test. Similarly under the home test, all those test cases which are associated with the home page will come under the home test.feature file. And also if there is anything like any data you are taking from the external resources, maybe in the Excel or any properties file, where you are giving, username, password, anything, like any data that you are using, that will come under the data file folder, and under the data file folder you will create the specific files like property files, Excel file. From there you will read the data. So this is how ideal project structure should look like in the automation testing framework. So here I have talked about the page object model, Cucumber. So these two terms, if you are mentioning in the interviews, then you should not just the project structure, you should study them in detail also. Maybe interviewer can ask you about the, page factory. What is page factory? What is the init element of the page factory does? What is the Cucumber? What is the feature file? What is the step definition file? And basic concepts of the Java also, like here we have created the classes. So what is a class, and how will you call one method from another class into another? So you should study about the oops concept of the Java also. So if you have studied this, then it will be very easy for you to crack the interview. Okay, so this is about the project structure. So I have one more slide where I'll talk about, important Cucumber based question or the project framework question that generally interviewer asks. So let's move to the next slide and talk about that. So these are the common questions that generally interviewer ask. So in the feature file you mention scenario outline and the scenario. So here we have seen sometimes we mention the scenario outline and sometimes I mention the scenario. So interviewer can easily ask what is the difference between the scenario outline and the scenario. So basically we use scenario outline when we are running a test case on the multiple example set. So scenario outline will always have the multiple example set, and the scenario is just simple scenario. You will not have the multiple data set to run on that. So that is the difference. Another thing they generally ask, hooks and background. So we have seen like at the rate background annotation and the rate hooks annotation. So but what is the difference between both of these? So background, when we are using, we are defining the background on the feature file. Okay, so whatever the test case in the feature file, if we are using the background in that feature file, so that will run first. Under the background annotation, test cases will run first. So this is the prerequisite only for the feature file test cases, not at the complete test suite level. But hooks we define in the separate Java class, and in that class we use the hooks for like running. If we have mentioned few test cases under the hooks, few methods under the hooks, so that will consider on the test suite level, not on the one feature file. So if you have the multiple feature file, login, home and everything, so under the things that are written under the hooks, so that will run before and after that complete set of tests, like before login and after home. Like if my feature file have only, if I have two feature file, only login and home, so it will run before and after that. Then comes another favorite question of the interview, run parallel test. So how we run parallel test? So it is like we pass the parallel equals to methods and the thread count in the test.ng XML to run scenarios in the parallel. And if you want to run the failed test cases twice or thrice, so ideal way is to go to the test-ng listeners, and we create one retry analyzer annotation in that, and we call that, and we define the retry count over there. This is the way to achieve, failed test cases to run multiple times. And third is like how to run only specific test cases in the test suite. So we have this at the rate tags annotation that we pass on the scenarios, and that same annotation we pass in the runner file under the at the rate tag, and give the name of that uh, keyword that we have mentioned in the feature file. So it will run only those specific test case. And fourth, like most important thing, generally they ask if they want to dig in more, like they want to know how much actually you have worked. They talk about the synchronized concept. So suppose you have tell the interviewer like, okay, we are running some test cases, and if they are failing, we are taking the screenshot of that. Okay, fine. But now he will ask, suppose one of the test case has failed, it is taking the screenshot, and another test case is also running parallel, it is also doing the same time, going and taking the screenshot. Then How will same method will work? Like suppose if you are appending the field count there plus one, and parallelly at that time same method also want to append that field count, so how it will work? There comes the synchronized concept. So whatever methods we want, like if I am increasing the count, another test case should not interfere in that, so we use the synchronized keyword for that method. If we have used the synchronized keyword, then it means it will run only at a time, only one time. Like suppose that becomes a thread safe, so first that will run. If some thread is doing that operation, it will wait, another method will wait to complete that thread, then only it will append or increase the count. So this is how it should work. So these are the basic things they generally ask. So yeah, that's all from my side. I'll try to create more videos on the interview experience that I'm also taking from different organizations. I'll try to create more videos on that. So till then, all the best for your interviews and good luck. Bye.